Hello, oracles. Ooh, here's the big day. Let us see what the production and delivery numbers come out at. Again, we don't know when they're coming out. I just figured I would jump on now. Historically, they usually come out between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern time during the week when it's market open. So should be coming out any minute now. I'll continue refreshing as we go. Good morning, everyone. Raymond, yes, the U.S. government did avoid the shutdown for 47 days, kicking that can down the road even more. So now we get to wait until November 16th for that one. Oh, man. What's going on, Alex? How's it going, my friend? Let's see. Let me get back over here to refresh. Yeah. I'll just try to refresh this as quickly as possible. Good morning, Chadwick. How's it going, my friend? Let's see what we get for numbers. For those of you guys who don't know, let me see. I'll jump it up on here. Let me do it this way. So IR consensus is 454,000. That is what we are anticipating from the market's perspective. And mine, I'll pop it up here for you guys here. Get rid of this. So I am anticipating 463,150 for production, and my delivery estimate, if I can actually get it here, is 449,256 is my delivery estimate. So we shall see how close I am. Bring up the important stuff now. Get back to this. Still nothing yet. Still nothing. That's okay. And the market is basically flat this morning. I think anticipation of this, and with the government shutdown being avoided, I thought we might see a little more green today, but I think it was kind of anticipated that they were going to avoid that. Good morning, everyone. Look at you all on here. Loving this. Loving this. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, yeah. Tony looking at 435,000. Yeah, and I've also seen some people coming out. Good morning, Effie. Morning, everyone. Morning. Dominic, 437. Yeah, there's a lot of people around that 435 to 440 mark. Good morning, Melissa. Early for me, Willie. No, it's 8:30 a.m. here for me. Not early. I've been up since 4:30 because that's just what time my body wakes up anyway. Morning, Joe. Yeah, so there's been a lot of people anticipating potentially seeing higher deliveries than production, and it is entirely possible. And my thoughts on that are, it really comes down to what did Tesla produce for the Model 3 Highland, because they had about 100,000 vehicles in inventory going into Q3. We know that they did a lot of price cuts and a lot of deals on the inventory, especially for the Model 3, to clear them out before the Highland was released. So then the question is, if the Highland was not able to deliver any vehicles in Q3 due to China not having it approved for deliveries, which is why we saw a bunch of the vehicles on boats going over to Europe. So if that's the case, how many vehicles did they produce for the Model 3 Highland? Because if that number exceeds 100,000, then we could potentially see a higher production number than delivery number. I have it set up that way. Then we also have to take into account Austin being down for 2 to 3 weeks. They're not producing anywhere near as much as Shanghai. So how much was that offset? So again, I do have, a 14,000 vehicle buffer with the production side heavier, but we'll just wait and see. We will see what the actual number comes out as. Good morning, Juan. Morning, Yamin. 442K. Yeah. And it's funny how the amount of people in the Tesla community, I've never seen it where pretty much everyone is anticipating a miss and anticipating us being below consensus estimate. I've never seen it like that before. Alex, wonder how much the market has already priced in for a miss. I think it's a good possibility that there's a good pricing in for a miss. What the buffer is, I think Gary Black is right around 445,000 is probably the low end. And if as long as they beat that, I think the stock won't react too negatively. May see a little bit of a downswing, but not terrible. But if we go below 440, it might get a little uglier. Uh, Yeah, and that's true too, Willie. The Highland makes 40% faster than the old Model 3. So with that being the case, we also have to take into account the fact that they had to ramp it back up. And from rumor has it, they were about 80% production in September, looking to push it to potentially 120% production capacity in October. Good morning. Yeah, if Tesla does beat expectations, that's going to be wild. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, if the market is pricing in a bit of a miss and Tesla beats, watch out. We could see quite the run in the stock. Puerto Rico in the house. What's going on, Joseph? Melissa, yeah. Some of us who wanted to buy at lower prices were hoping that it was going to dip down. Hey, you never know. We'll see how it plays out today. What's going on, David? Chadwick, I just don't get why we put so much emphasis on these numbers. They don't matter. Everyone knows that the line shut down to switch over to Highland. You're right. Honestly, and of course, anybody who's long term on Tesla, this is just one of those things that we pay attention to. It's one of those due diligence things to make sure that the fundamentals are still in line. Is Tesla still doing what they say they're going to be doing? That's really it for long term investors. There's real no other reason why this number in particular is important other than we know that Tesla's fundamentals are growing. We know why they may miss. That's really it. Um, Honolulu, nice out there. For some reason, I'm super cold in my apartment right now. I don't know why. Probably because I'm so excited about this. When does it come out? Let me refresh here again. It comes out it should be any minute now. Should be coming out. I'm just going to keep on hitting that refresh um, to see what's going on. But yeah, it should be coming out any minute now. It typically should be. I would imagine it'll be out by 9 a.m. So we'll chat until then, and I'll just keep refreshing regularly. Oh, I like this. Price will drop, then go back up. Enjoy the quick day trade profit. That's true. We may see a miss, and then the reality of why we got the miss coming in later today. Good point. We might see that exact play out in the day. For anybody who's a swing trader, that could be what ends up happening. So just pay attention to those things. But again, anybody who's long term, truly, as Chadwick says, it doesn't really matter all that much long term because, hey, long term, when we look at this stock and this moment 5, 10 years down the road from now, we're not even going to remember this moment. It's not going to matter. What we might remember is the switch over to the Highland as an important point in Tesla's history, but the actual number of deliveries, totally irrelevant. But it's fun to check them anyway. It's like playing that game of, hey, who's going to get the closest? It doesn't matter who gets the closest. Nobody's actually going to win any prizes, but it's fun to play the game anyway. Like backyard bocce. And I've got to have it up on multiple windows because in the past I've had issues where it hasn't reloaded properly and I've had to completely reboot. So I will try to get this up and running as quickly as possible and make sure I do not miss it when it lands. Karav, what's going on? Karav, I want to thank you. Now, Karav has been a huge help for me. He's the one who updated my spreadsheet. So he took all of my different production spreadsheets that I had and put them all into the financial spreadsheet. Was a major help. So Karav, thank you for that. And I will be sharing that out with you guys. Anybody who's a member and a patron, I'm going to update once we get these numbers in. I'll update both spreadsheets for you guys. I am going to start working on my earnings spreadsheet piece of it. So once that's all updated, I'll share that with you guys. But I'll get over the production forecast for you guys later today. Yeah, Bitcoin is up. So anybody who is in crypto trading and cryptocurrencies, I do have a little bit. I've been adding little bits here and there. That they're looking at from a technical standpoint, from the charts, looks like we are about to hit a major run when it comes to Bitcoin. And of course, all cryptocurrencies are most likely going to follow that trend, but it's going up. And there's a strong possibility that this is where it's going to be pushing up, where you have a lot of ETFs that are going to be coming out for Bitcoin that are waiting for regulations. We have the government really pushing the SEC to finalize it and approve those regulations for it. And then we have the Bitcoin halvening, which is supposed to be coming up in the spring, which will increase the price of the Bitcoin as well. Um, People are in the crypto community are talking about this could be the start of the run that pushes Bitcoin up to $200,000 per coin by 2025. So those of you in the community, that's the I'm not as versed in cryptocurrency as many others. I'm more of a dabbler, but that's the information that I currently have on Bitcoin. Chadwick, I think I'm more excited about the opportunities such as Tesla bot and FSD. Automotive will eventually be a part of Tesla. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Automotive is going to be a small part of Tesla come 2030, 2033, which is crazy to think because at that point, that was where Tesla's goal of 20 million vehicles per year coming out is. But um, I think, especially from a long term investors standpoint, we are so far beyond vehicles. Again, we're looking at energy, we're looking at Tesla bot, we're looking at FSD, we're looking at robo taxis. All of these different things are what we are focusing on as long-term investors. So, like realistically, looking at like delivery and production numbers for today, it's almost like yesterday's news, but it's not. We know it's not, but that's kind of how it's being looked at by us. Tesla for some reason moves better than TSLA. Not really. So on the upside, Tesla will move way better in the long term, unless it's so TSLY is going to be capped at 5% increases. So you're never ever going to beat Tesla because Tesla's always going to move more than 5%. It's just how Tesla operates. So if you're looking at Tesla for a long-term play, you're going to lose out on a lot of the growth from Tesla. I'm a huge fan of Tesla. That's my biggest ETF position for cash income. But realistically, when you're looking at it from a growth perspective, it's going to come up very short of Tesla. Morning, Eric. Mm, mm, mm. Do. Still nothing. Realty income, I do like it. I own some O. I've got about just over 6 shares of it. I've been adding to it little by little. What I think is going to be happening with the real estate market and all the REITs that go along with it are it's still going to keep coming down. Once the housing prices do end up making that turn, which we haven't seen it. We thought we saw some softening, but it hasn't really panned out yet. When we do end up seeing that come down, it will bring the REITs with it. Once the Fed does pivot, then we will end up seeing those REITs go back up because interest rates will be coming down. And at that point, we will have housing prices down as well. So the housing market will heat back up again. So we're hot right now. It'll cool off and then heat back up. So I'm dollar cost averaging into it because I think it's going to recover nicely along with all the other REITs. Yeah, bot has a real future. Obviously we're going to see it first when it comes to helping out in the factory itself to reduce costs. That'll be the first one. And then as soon as we start seeing the reality of that, other manufacturers are going to see that as well and understand the massive cost savings that they will have by employing the bot. So they will start picking up the bot, and over time that will take over. And that's where you're going to see the real big sales. We're going to see it in factories for production purposes well before we see it in home uses. Nicholas, what do you think about the macro and economy over the next 6 to 12 months, especially with BOJ yield curve steepening? So every single time we have seen the bond yield curve invert, the last 7 times, it has led to a recession. And we are currently there right now. But we don't get to the recession until after it reverts and goes back to the way it should be. So when you're looking at the yield curve being inverted right now, that's just kind of an indicator that we are most likely going to be heading towards a recession at some point. So 6 to 12 months, looking at the timing, if the Fed decided to kick down the road when they're going to pivot, if the pivot's going to be coming in Q3, we are most likely already going to be on a downturn at that point. So I think the next 3 to 6 months, we could see a run in the market. This week is going to be a big indicator of that. So if we can get through this week, we could see a massive run in the market for the next 3 to 6 months. And then I think at that point, with the interest rates, Fed may most likely will be going up on the interest rates one more time, probably November, 25 basis points, and then it'll be the pause. The market has already priced this in. We continue that pause. Historically, when the Fed has paused, we've run to all-time highs. We've got JP Morgan already anticipating all-time highs come next year. So if that's the case, we could be running 3 to 6 months, hit all-time highs in Q1 or early Q2 of next year, then hit that massive downturn, which ends up getting extremely ugly. And then typically the last 2 times we've had big crashes, which are both the housing market recession and the housing market crash and the dot-com bubble crash, both of those worst points, the bottoms came in September and October, right around election time, both in election years. So playing all that out historically, that could be what we see. We could see a run in the market for 3 to 6 months, and then we could see a big pullback coming after that. Again, that's just historically what we have seen. Whether that's actually going to play out or not, I don't know. But I am going to be releasing on X later today and a video here on YouTube as well later today to accompany it, my thoughts for my plan for my dividend game. So it's my ability to accumulate 4,444 shares of Tesla stock in the next 10 years and utilizing dividends to be able to accumulate even more of them even faster and step away from my full-time job at the same time. So I have that whole entire plan that I will be putting out to you guys later today. And the timing of it and the reason why I chose the ETFs the way I did is because of my thoughts for the next 6 to 12 months in the market, is getting as much cash flow coming in as I can to be able to take advantage of that massive pullback I think we're going to be seeing in about a year from now. And I know I've been saying it for a while that I'm anticipating a major pullback, and I am. But if you go back to even the housing recession, when we ended up seeing all of that, we ended up getting the market pushing up a lot higher, despite the fact that there were way too many indicators showing that we shouldn't have been pushing higher. And we're probably in that similar situation now where there's a lot of things pointing that maybe we shouldn't be pushing higher, but we are anyway. And whether it's market manipulators trying to squeeze out as much money as possible, trying to get the FOMO out there, I don't know the reasoning behind it, but that's what we have seen in the past. What else we got here? TLT. I've actually got TLTW. I do like it. I like TLTW. TLT is good also. TLT has been around for, I think, longer than anybody else for the bonds. So I've got TLTW also. Yes, I do have drip on for Tesla right now. My plan is to get Tesla to $250 per month, and I know that fluctuates significantly, but I hit Tesla. I drip into Tesla until I'm going to be hitting $250 per month, and then I'm going to flip that. Peggy, what's going on, my friend?
What's happening? What's going on?
Guest.
What's happening, everyone? How you doing, Tim? Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, no problem.
As you guys see, I'm at work.
Pidgey working hard. Gotta bring in those active dollars to buy some more Tesla stock. That's what
exactly,
it's all about.
Exactly. That's how it is. I'm actually gonna buy some today if it dips. I'm actually looking.
Oh yeah.
So
somebody had actually pointed out the fact that typically on a day like today, we may end up seeing, a sell-off from the
I hope so.
from a miss, but then we might end up seeing a rebound once everybody takes into account why we missed.
I really hope so. I really, really hope so. What are your thoughts? I know we're all below. I know we're all saying to miss because Wall Street is for some reason saying it's, what is it, 450, 454?
454, about 455 is what Wall Street is anticipating. But literally everyone in the community is calling numbers below that.
That's
I have not seen anybody in the community. I mean, some people here and there have said it, but the majority of people are saying we're going to be missing.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we know too much, right? We I mean, someone like you, me, and the other guys like Troy and Brian from Tesla Weekend and James Stevenson. I mean, we're active on Tesla. We look at it literally on a weekly basis now. Some of us more detailed than others, but we know what's up. And I think Wall Street wants the stock to go down so they can buy on the dip too. So
Yeah. And that could very well be it. I mean, we've also seen them coming down on their estimates, even leading into this day. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they wanted to miss, but not miss that much. I have no idea.
maybe. Let's see. Anything I would say anything over 440 is pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah, I was saying 445. I think Gary Black is right at the bottom there, and I think if we have anything over 445, we're going to be fine. Around 440, maybe not as good, but I think if we go under 440, there could be a little concern from the market. I'm not concerned, but
yeah, no, I'm just looking for a buy opportunity. I'm just looking at,
Oh,
So
yeah.
I mean, I tweeted about this too. Tesla investors are the only ones that are hoping for the stock to go down rather than up.
Oh, I
Because just want to buy more on the cheap. It's just hilarious.
And it's funny because here it is.
Oh shoot!
Loading but not loading. What's going on?
Okay.
They're getting ready. It's there, but there's nothing to click.
It's like my what's it called? My report card's coming out.
Oh, I know. All right. So
I think they're gonna release it right at 4, or right at 9. It's 4 my time.
So they've loaded this piece up, but they haven't gotten to. Don't tease me like that. You give me this, but it's not clickable.
Oh man, this is gonna be fun. This would be under SEC filings? No, this is not under SEC filings.
Yes, SEC. So there's the way I do it is I go to press release.
Okay.
And then under press releases, I'll hit for the previous one, and then in here there's irtesla.com, and I do it like you can go directly to it also, but I do it that way because it gives a better refresh on my end.
That's smart. I was just doing it like whatever Google gives me, I just go based on that. How's everyone feeling, by the way? Like, how's everyone feeling in the comments? I mean, we have about, I can't see how many people are viewing this, but I think it's in the couple hundreds.
173.
Sheesh. Everyone smash that like button. I don't know why you guys are not smashing that damn like button, man. Come on, smash that like button. Sorry, I'm not being too loud because I'm in my office. I want to get my workers like, what the hell is he doing? So yeah, you guys better smash that like button, man.
Oh man. Yeah, I should always ask for that. Like I hate to ask for those things, but you guys are usually pretty good. Those of you guys who jump on early are always liking it right away. I mean, some of you guys even like it before the video even starts, and I love that. I try to do that. As a content creator, you learn these things and you learn how the algorithm works. So whenever I watch somebody else's video, I always make sure to hit that like button, even if the ad is playing.
True. I do that too.
Come on.
A massive
Come on, baby.
in front of me, making sure no one looks in.
I want just right here. Give it to me.
Oh man, this is gonna be nice. This is gonna be nice.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to who's gonna be the closest. I've got 449 for Deliveries, 449, 256.
Nice. Originally, I was at 423, and then I'm like, you know what? I didn't take an effect. I didn't add in the inventory from the previous quarter. I added that onto it. It was like almost like 330, like 337, 363, whatever that was. I'm just like, Karav, that's the number, man. Cross out 424.
And we were talking about, like, because I've seen some people who have a higher delivery than production number. And I think it's really going to come down to how many Model 3 Highlands did they produce that they weren't able to deliver? Did that offset the reduction of inventory that was sitting there going into Q3?
That's true. That is very, very true.
And then the Cybertruck, all 25 that they've produced so far.
They've only produced 25 of it? I'm not following the Cybertruck, how much they've done or what's happening. It's so hard to tell.
I've heard rumors that they've delivered 25 of them already, but I think that they were the like, because they're on, I think they called it like the master, master beta. I don't know.
Oh God.
But it's the master version that was out, and I think that was like the actual final production. So I don't know if they've actually officially produced the production version of it yet. But I think all the other ones have either been delivered or they're getting sent to certain places for whatever reason. Those are the ones that we've been seeing going around.
Yeah. When do you think they're gonna do the delivery announcement?
So I believe, from information I have been given, they may end up announcing, whether it's today or next week, that they're going to end up doing it last week, probably around the 26th or 27th of October is when they're going to
Oh,
have the actual delivery event.
but like, okay, how many are they gonna have produced to even deliver? You know what I mean? That's. I think that's
Well, think about in the past, like even when they did the Model S, where they deliver 10. So it's not
really.
like
Ah,
it's going to be a lot. So they're going to have it. I mean, even the semi. So it's not like they're going to be delivering a ton of these Cybertrucks. Even if they deliver out 10 of them, that's still the event to show, hey, we've got them. Here's the deliveries, and then they can say actual deliveries will be starting the day after that. So they'll start getting it out to actual consumers. So
huh.
that's I think that's how they're going to end up playing it. But I believe they'll probably have the announcement for the event coming up, and then of course at the earnings call they'll discuss how the event's going to be coming up, and that could, if we get good momentum coming out of this today, go into earnings, continue momentum after that. Then we get the Cybertruck momentum. So if we get that momentum, we could be seeing a nice little push going in for Q4.
Yeah,
Which I
potentially
know
reaching
that takes away your
300.
buying opportunities, but
Well, I mean, well, it's okay because I mean, my original goal for getting Tesla stock was around. I hope to get 1,000 shares, but I think I'm gonna cut that down to. I'm 7 away from 700, and I think I'm just gonna
nice.
keep at 700, and that's it. I'm just gonna, unless it goes down to the hundreds again, I'll probably like pull out from my uh. Oh, maybe I'll just sell Amazon stock. I don't know. Let's see, and buy and just buy more Tesla then. But other than that, I think I think I should save. I think I should save some actual money just in case something happens.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was trying to get myself um to 200 shares this year, and then once the price kept going up, I knew I wasn't going to get that. I don't even think I'm going to get to 100, just because it's been going up and up and up, and I'm only putting in so much every single day,
Yeah,
and
but you're also doing a lot of like dividend stuff, right? Like you're trying to
yeah,
increase your, which I want to bring you on my channel to talk about 10K a month, man, dude.
yes. So
Yeah,
my
so like,
my theory behind it is, and I was explaining it before you hopped on, that I do think with the macro environment, based upon what we've seen historically, we're going to get a massive pullback sometime around this time next year. Timing wise, that's when we have seen it. So if that's the
okay,
case, and I have all of those dividend stocks out there bringing in that cash flow, that will allow me to have significantly more money coming in to buy Tesla at lower prices, which can then help me get up even more shares faster.
that's true. But make sure you get good stocks that aristocrats that are
Yes.
paying dividends for 40, 50 years straight. So you don't have
Well,
to
so
worry
and
about,
and the
oh no, it went down, now they're gonna cut dividends. Because man, dude, before I went all into Tesla stock, majority of my investments was mainly dividend stocks in Canadian utilities, renewable energy companies. And thankfully, thank God I sold them all to buy Tesla because they're all down 50% and they cut their dividends by 70%.
oh
And I'm
yeah.
sitting here and I'm just like, oh, what?
Yeah, there's some areas you have to be careful with. Energy does come down significantly at times, and I've got my whole entire breakdown set up, and some are the riskier ones like Tesla and all the YieldMax stuff. So I've got those in there as plays, but those are ones where I'm putting a strict limit on them, because if we get into a massive market pullback, they're going to have massive downside, and while they may pay out, the payout won't be as good as it is now. So yes, I'm basically utilizing that money to funnel into better dividend ETFs to be able to have a better stable income, and that'll be able to ride out. Yes, I mean, any massive downturn, you're going to feel it, but what are you going to be able to mitigate it with? And that's where I'm trying to funnel all of that money into as quickly as possible in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good plan. That's a good plan. Dividend investing in the right ones, you can definitely make an awesome living.
Yes, and the whole
A
point is, I
friend,
I think that Tesla's going to end up paying dividends, probably around 2033 or around when the bot is actually, the bot's the big one to me. I think once the bot hits the ground and they've found a sweet market for it, then we're actually going to start seeing Tesla look into dividends. That's my thought on it. So
Boomer Mama was saying that end of the decade, but dividends will only happen if Elon is no longer CEO, which I think makes sense.
Oh, somebody says they're out. Hold on.
Are they out? No way. Come on.
Oh, why am I missing this? There we go. There it is.
All right. How much?
Deliveries 435, production 430.
So it was close.
So it was a flip. It was a flip with the production being lower than deliveries. Wow, I was off on production by a lot. I have not missed this much into production.
Same.
Wow. So 435. Okay. And how's the market reacting? I don't have the market up.
It's going to go down. It's going to go down. It's going to go down.
All right. So 435. I was way off on both, folks. This is the biggest miss I've ever had, but also the biggest miss Tesla's ever had. So we're all in the same club here. So let's see what they said. So October 18th is going to be earnings, which we've kind of figured that was going to be the date. So that'll be earnings. Looks like there's no other info on here at all. Sequential decline in volumes was caused by planned downtimes for factory upgrades, which we knew, as discussed in the most recent earnings call. Yep. Our volume target is still around 1.8 million vehicles, unchanged. That's good. This is going to be the piece that the market's going to look at going into Q4. As long as they can still maintain the 1.8 million despite coming in lower on deliveries, that's what the market wants to see.
The stock is down 3% pre-market.
All right. Pre-market 3%. Again, folks, you do your due diligence. You do what you want to do. Do you want to buy? Do you not want to buy? Do you think it's going to rebound at the end of the day? Time will tell.
Come on, go down 5% at least, man. Come on, that 3% is
Yeah. Let me run through some of these. Sorry, I missed a bunch of your comments in here, guys. And thank you, Dominic, for pointing this out. I was refreshing and it just wasn't popping for me.
So out of the list that Karov made, James Stevenson was on point pretty much by 59. He's off. He was over. Yeah, he was off by 59 vehicles.
Damn, James sucks. James is terrible. I really wish he was better with his numbers. James missed by 59. Yeah. Damn, dude.
I'm going to go ahead and tweet that because that is sheesh.
Yeah, way to go, James. Good call on that one. And and for me, I do enjoy doing this, and I'll dive into the numbers regularly. I haven't had as much time to be able to do it like these other guys have. But again, that's why I follow guys like James and Brian and Troy and Karav when he was able to do it, because these guys, dive in a lot of different ways that I don't. So while my kind of broad-based methods have worked out quite well, obviously you can see here, there are times where I'm going to miss significantly. And
that's okay. I mean, here's the thing when it comes to these predictions, everyone's going to be wrong, right? Nobody knows what's up. It's just a fun game that we play based on this. I mean, here's the thing, guys. In the next 2-3 years' time, nobody's going to remember Q3 of 2023 or Q2 of 2023 because the number of them delivering and production is going to be substantially higher. It's going to be insane. Who remembers 2022 Q2 deliveries? Nobody knows.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I don't even remember last year's. Exactly. I don't remember last year's numbers, let alone, 5 years ago.
Yeah. So really, it's just for us investors who are passionate about Tesla. We just love we have fun doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, and
whether
not
it
only that,
misses
but
or not, cares.
Think about this. In 5 years from now, 5 to 7 years from now, this 435,000 is going to be a monthly delivery number.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Right on. Right. That's smack on. And hey, 435,000 deliveries is actually really good. If you take in the fact that if they didn't have a shutdown, this number would have been maybe 480,000.
Right. So so if you take the shutdown away, we definitely would have exceeded last quarter's numbers.
Yeah. So it's, to me, I mean, it was below my estimate, but I mean, hey man, whatever. Who
Yeah.
cares?
We got the number. This is what we waited for. It wasn't as pretty as we wanted it, but hey, again, when you're looking at it from a long-term investor standpoint, this is either going to be a great buying opportunity for you, or if you're not buying, you just wait longer. I mean, this isn't one of those indicators of, hey, this is bad news. This is just all right, here's the stepping stone, and that's it.
Exactly. All right. So what's your plan now, Oracle? You planning to buy at this dip? You're gonna wait until it settles? Like, what is it? What's your plan?
Well, for me, I just have my buys already set in for the day, so it's buying regardless of what this was going to turn out to be.
Okay.
For me, it was more about when do I buy TSLY, because TSLY is also going to fluctuate with this, and because of the fact that I'm utilizing that to buy more Tesla stock itself, I'm going to scoop up a little bit more TSLY today on this dip, and then this Friday we get is the X date for it. So we'll find out on Thursday what the payout's going to be for TSLY. But yeah, I'll buy a little bit more then. I'm at this point, I'm also saving up more cash. I want cash, and I want that cash flow coming in very much like I did in 2022, building that all up, getting ready to buy even more, and bought at the end of the year. I'm kind of doing the same preparation for what I think is going to happen next year.
Okay. Well, that's smart.
Yeah, and as Chris says here, I would buy more now, but want to wait for X date. So Chris, the way I play it is both. So I'm going to be buying a little bit more today, but then at the beginning of each month, which would have started today, I have my set plan for TSLY to I'm putting in $200 every month into the ETF. So on the X date, I'll put in $100, and then I dollar cost average $100 over the course of the rest of the month. And that's how I play mine now. So absolutely, because the X date, we're going to get the drop from whatever the payout's going to be. My estimation for the payout's going to be 63 cents a share right now. So if that's the case, then we'll see the stock price of that drop down 63 cents. Plus, with the X date, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe the market does recover and they say, oh, you know what? This number was acceptable at 435 because we know what's going on for the rest of the year. So then all of a sudden it rebounds back up to finish the week off. Again, nobody knows for sure, but that's why I play both sides of it.
So what do you think, Oracle? What do you think Q4 is going to be?
Q4, actually, let me bring up my spreadsheet if I have it available, because I've got to actually update my numbers now that this came out and drop it down, because Q4 I currently have at 549,850 for production, but that number I need to adjust based off of what we had just seen.
549. Wow.
Yes. So increasing production by 120,000 now based on the number we just got.
Okay.
Which again, I don't think is unrealistic. I am going to update it. I told my members and patrons I'm going to get it out to you guys later today. But so the rumor that we had was that the Model 3 Highland was going to go to about 120% production based upon where they were previously by October. And so if that's the case, then we could see some massive increases in production. Then you throw on there the upgrades for the Model Y that we had seen in Austin, bumping up production there, and the Cybertruck. Cybertruck won't be huge, but maybe they push out a couple thousand units by the end of the year. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's on the high end.
I see.
But
okay, no, I'm doing some calculations right now. So yeah, up to date right now, Tesla has delivered, including Q3, about a little bit over 1.3 million vehicles. So for them to reach 1.8 million, they need just about 476,000 vehicle deliveries in Q4.
yeah,
My prediction is 500,000. I think they're gonna. I mean, or just almost reaching 500,000, maybe 490 and 495. But I'm very confident that Q4 is not only going to be a monstrous quarter for Tesla, but I am expecting close to the 500,000 for it. But they would need, just 476 around there, 1,000 vehicle deliveries in Q4 to reach the 1.8. And I think I don't know, there's something telling me that they're intentionally trying to hit the 1.8 million. So next year the target won't be as high. Something tells me that I think that's what's happening too, and they're doing this intentionally.
Well, so, and the other two reasons as well is they already know that there's the demand crunch right now in the automotive market entirely because of interest rates. So
Yeah.
there's no benefit to pushing out more vehicles that they're not going to be able to sell, or that they're going to have to sell at a discount out of inventory. Makes no sense, especially with all of the upgrades that they're making as quickly as they change things. Like, think about at the beginning of this year. If they had been cranking out and pushing to produce as many Model 3s as possible, they would have had that many more that they would have had to sell out of inventory ahead of Highland. Would have made no sense, because if they didn't sell them all, once Highland is released, they would have ended up having to sell the old ones at even bigger discounts, because who would want the older ones? So they're trying to
Exactly.
do this strategically. So it does make sense to stick it with the 1.8 million until demand starts coming back up naturally with interest rates going down. And again, if that's not going to happen until Q3 of next year, we could end up seeing, this trend continue.
Yeah.
But you're right. 477 seems like it should be easy, because they came close. What were
Oh,
they?
oh,
Hold on, let me see.
100%.
Because they were at
In Q2, they were at 466.
right. Okay, so 466 in Q2. So if they're at 466 in Q2, then hitting 477 in Q4
It's gonna be easy.
should be simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like they'll probably do maybe 1.2 and a quarter, maybe 1.8 and a quarter, or 1.8 and a half. But I think again, intentionally, they want to keep it closer to the 1.8. So next year they say, "Oh, look at this! Elon did say that year over year 50% increase."
I know, because nobody seems to gather the math on the CAGR of it all, and the fact that it doesn't have to be 50% every single year.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
cumulative over the decade from 2020, which means at this point they only need to do 40% year over year to achieve those numbers.
Yeah. Now watch this, guys. All the Tesla bears are going to come out and say Tesla's losing demand or reducing prices. See, no
Of
one's
course.
buying Teslas anymore. Even though Ford Lightning is now not going to be in production anymore, but they'll come back and they'll beat the Cybertruck. All these things, all these bears are going to come out and say, just make sure you guys are level-headed and you know the facts. That's all.
Oh, I know. You're so right, because it's like, oh, demand is coming. Demand from who? Ford, who decided to stop production on their Ford
Yeah.
Lightning entirely? Yeah, that demand's really going to be squashed by a vehicle that's not being produced at all.
God, that's going to be hilarious.
Nicholas, let's see. I do see a problem over the next years. The new generation car will probably start the earliest Q3 2025. How do they plan to keep up demand with recession coming and unemployment rising? So, Nicholas, that's actually, I had mentioned this about a year ago when we had heard about this car coming out. And of course, we thought it was coming out. Elon was going to be squashing it, for anybody who read the book. But so now that it's coming out, my thought on it was the timing is perfect, because we're probably going to end up seeing the production of this actually start end of 2024, because it's going to be starting in Austin rather than Mexico, which means that the factory is already built. They just need to put up the lines to produce this. With it coming out at that point, if we're hitting a recession at that point at the same time production starts, to be able to keep up with the demand is going to be hard, but they're going to be able to produce them 50% faster than what they produce right now with the Model 3 and the Model Y. So producing them even faster and having the EV tax credit, obviously demand is going to be through the roof on these. It's probably going to be like a 2-year waiting list, very similar to like a Cybertruck type waiting list. But they're just going to pump them out as fast as possible. They'll have them coming out of Austin. They're going to end up getting the Mexico and India factories up and running. So probably by, like I said, Q2 or Q3 of 2025, they'll be coming out of Mexico and out of India plus Austin. So I think between those three, they should be able to get demand maybe closer to where we saw the Model Y, which was 12 to 16 months when it was at the peak during COVID. And I think if we get to that point, that's obviously a great sign for Tesla. And it's just a matter of how quickly can they ramp up that production on those vehicles.
But hold on. Didn't they say that the Mexico factory isn't gonna be finished until 2026, 2027?
So I heard that rumor. I heard that rumor as well. But from what I had heard, they had said that they weren't going to be producing the vehicles until that time. But I think that they had said that because they decided that they were going to be doing the compact car coming out of Austin instead. So maybe everything is pushed off that far. Maybe I'm wrong and it's not going to be coming out in 2025 because they're doing it out of Austin instead. Totally possible.
But darn, why is it gonna take so long for Mexico to if 2026, 2027 gonna? That's like 3-4 years.
So here's the reason. The reason why is because
that's slow.
But if they're going to be starting a production in Austin for the compact car, what would make sense is they start the production there, then they come up with whatever issues they may find out. Because, every time they open up a new factory, they say, hey, we could have done this better if we had laid the factory out this way better. So by delaying the Mexico factory is actually brilliant, because if they're going to be running the lines in Austin first, they can say, hey, these are the things we should do better in the next plant. We've already got the shell of the factory built for Mexico. Now we can just do the entire layout differently this way. And it would make sense for them to push it off a year or two to kind of just get those learning curves under their belt to make Mexico even better and more efficient than Austin.
That's true. I see. Okay. Wow. Let's see. I'm just waiting for the news that Mexico will hit ground, and then maybe we can see the progress through the drone videos and stuff like that. I'm surprised it still hasn't hit ground.
Well, so they're still waiting on they're waiting on last approvals. They've gotten a bunch of the approvals and a bunch of the regulations through. They don't have the same red tape that Berlin had, but there's some things. Yeah, Nicholas. So people don't want to buy cars during a recession. You're absolutely right. They don't. But the thing is people are going to need to buy cars during a recession. It's just natural. Like, the people who need to buy them will end up buying one. So when it comes down to it, if people are going to have to buy a vehicle, they obviously want to buy something that's going to cost them less money. If Tesla does not have that compact car out by then people are going to go and defer to ICE vehicles, regardless of the fact that they may want to buy an EV, strictly because of the fact that it's price. So if Tesla does have that compact car out, at least it gives owners a viable option to get an EV and a Tesla at that lower price. So if you got a $25,000 vehicle, you tack on the EV tax credit, depending on what state you're in, you might be able to get this for sub $15,000, which and last I heard, and I could be wrong on this if they changed it, right now with the EV tax credit, you buy the vehicle, it comes off when you file your next taxes, you get that money back. Beginning in 2024, it comes off at the time of the purchase, which means that your loan will be even less. So this way, when you get your loan, you get the EV tax credit off at the time of purchase. That means you're going to be paying less than $15,000 for that vehicle once they do come out, which, again, probably won't be until 2025. But at that time, if we're in the recession, if you now have an option to purchase a Tesla under 15 grand, that's where people in a recession would end up going.
Yep, that's true. And the longer this high interest rate stays, the harder it is for people to even think about getting a new. Because in Canada, Model 3 is like 45, 50,000 Canadian dollars, even with the incentive. So it's still expensive there for it.
Right.
So.
And here in the U.S., depending on where you get it, like some places you can get it for 23 grand. California,
and in Kuwait,
Oregon,
you can't get it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Exactly. Some places you can't buy them at all. Other places you can get sweet discounts. Geo, yes, exactly, Geo. Investors, we don't care about today. We care about the future. Stay calm, be smart. Exactly. So today's number is no reason for panic whatsoever, as we are laughing and joking here, because the number is what the number is. We're not changing it. This is not an indicator of panic for Tesla, any major issues. This is exactly what we assumed was going to happen, a miss of the expectations, and we got it. So
yeah, exactly. And just looking for a buy opportunity. That's all.
and today could be one of those. And again, the way Pedgy and I both look at this is, when you're looking at this stock 10 years down the road from now, you're not going to care whether you bought today at 250, 240, 200, 300. It's not going to matter, because as far as we're concerned, in 10 years from now, the price is going to be probably a 10x from where we are right now. So
yeah, exactly. And what I try to tell Tesla investors is that don't zoom in too much in the vehicles. Yeah, okay, the revenue profits, 90% of it is 95% is coming from the actual vehicles and stuff. But look, you're not in it for the vehicles. You're in it for the the FSD. You're in it for the energy. You're in it for the other things that can propel the stock 3, 4, 5x. The next one is FSD. That's what we are looking for. If we knew that Tesla wasn't working on all this AI stuff, I mean, why invest in Tesla? It's just going to be another car company. But we know it's not a car company. They're trying to solve autonomy and trying to go into renewable energy, sustainable energy. And that's where the opportunity is, not the vehicles. The vehicles is a tool for the FSD once it's solved. snap of a finger, where is it? There we go. Snap of a finger. All of a sudden, every Tesla around the world, which is going to be millions, and by the time they solve it, it's probably going to be around the tens of millions. People can opt in for the FSC, whether it's 200 a month, 250 a month, 300 a month. That's the main. That's where Tesla's going to be worth trillions of dollars, because all of a sudden you have a software as a service that's generating you 80% profits.
Right.
And don't forget, if that becomes solved, then licensing is going to become a thing. Then if licensing becomes a thing, then robotaxi is probably going to happen. And that right there is just a whole new era, whole new dilemma for Tesla. And that's where the opportunity lies, not in the vehicles.
Oh, exactly.
The vehicle is just the first step. So,
and with FSD, that's where Tesla was able to get AI truly up and running, which they can now utilize in Optimus, which is going to change everything in 7 to 10 years from now. So
yeah, there we go.
And then Melissa, yeah, this is a great point. So last year we delivered 343,000. So about 90,000 more deliveries year over year from Q3 of last year. That is the growth that you want to see. Like, looking at, 100 grand, 90 grand, that's what, 25% increase over last year. I consider
it's
that
a sheesh moment. It's a sheesh moment. You just gotta, like, whoever is bummed out of this. I mean, there's really nothing to be bummed out. We were expecting a low number anyways. It's just Wall Street wanted a higher number. Maybe because, again, they wanted to buy the dip. I don't know. But we were expecting a low number. But why is the reason? Not because of demand, because they were doing upgrades. And the upgrades will reflect in Q4 and Q1 and Q2 of, as we keep going forward. And we're going to see more capacity with more factories. So you're going to see more deliveries then. But again, the point of investing in Tesla is not because of the vehicles, man. That's all. Okay. The vehicle is just a tool for the next things. That's all. I mean, that's the best way I can put it.
Oh, exactly. And that's all it is, again, when you look at this in 10 years from now, the EV, the automotive sector of Tesla is going to be a small piece of it.
Very small.
At that point, energy may be eclipsing it. We've got robo-taxis, which will be bringing in more revenue than that. Optimus will be up and coming. There's going to be 2 other S-curves that are bigger than EVs, already pushing to be bigger than EVs in 10 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the vision that you're supposed to have with Tesla is not a vision where everyone drives a Tesla. No, the vision is everyone is no longer driving. That's the vision with Tesla.
Yes.
The vision, nobody's driving, it's driving yourself. Then you got taxis that's driving by yourself. You can take you places. Then you got like other companies licensing out Tesla's FSD. That's where the opportunity is. That's where the big bucks is. That's when Wall Street will finally, when that happens, that's when Wall Street will finally come and say, oh, Tesla is no longer a car company because they got software as a service margins. They're a computer company. Computer companies or AI companies are valued at this much. It's cheap right now. Exactly. But right now, they look at a lens of, as a car company, they compare it to Ford and GM and all those other guys who seem to be going bankrupt sooner than we think.
Yeah, dude, it's getting rough for legacy auto right now. And
we all
again,
thought Elon was going to do that.
No kidding. I didn't realize that the UAW and the government were going to be the ones who shut those businesses out. But I look at the entire macro environment, and sure, the next year or two could be rough, and it could be hurting. But when you look back at the housing market crash, it was the same thing. We saw a massive pullback in everything, and then you had the strongest players come out of it because a lot of dead companies died and left room for these other companies to grow. So, look at Apple, for instance. You had companies like BlackBerry, Nokia, these companies went under, which then opened up the doors for Apple to really take over. And that's what ended up happening. That allowed Samsung to come in and grow their business with Android as well. This is what's going to happen with Tesla and this is just on the EV side of things, is there's going to be a lot of companies that end up going under. Whether legacy auto does or not, there's a lot of other little companies that are out there that may not survive a massive economic downturn, and Tesla will. And so, sure, Tesla's going to take a beating with everybody else, but when you come to the other side of it, Tesla's going to be positioned better than everybody else to come out the strongest. Because again, as we were talking before with the compact car, timing-wise, if Tesla does end up getting them starting to hit the roads in 2025, nobody else is going to have that. We have other companies who may start production for their vehicles on the higher end in 2025 or 2026. Tesla's now producing a mass market vehicle at that time for the market that wants it at that time. And so this just gives Tesla all of that room to grow in that market, whereas competition coming won't hit that market until late in the decade. So that's 3 to 4 years behind Tesla.
Yeah, and going back to that point, because I think this is a very strong point. Back to Apple in 2007. Don't forget, guys, Apple, I mean, back then phones were what, 200, 300? Apple was the only one that came out with their phone and said 1,000. And everyone's like, oh, haha, no one's going to buy a phone that's $1,000. And then all of a sudden, what happened? Like you said, everyone went bankrupt and Apple came out stronger than ever, because in the middle of a recession, for some reason, everybody wanted to buy $1,000 phone.
Well, it was funny. Because Gary Black had made a post about, comparing how, Apple, they would never come down on their price for their flagship product, and Tesla's coming down on their prices. I actually did a little research, and Apple started the first one out at about $450, the original iPhone. Then they dropped it to $200 for them for the next like 4 to 5 years, and they stayed steady at $200. Now, when you start factoring in for inflation, it was like that stayed steady, but the inflation adjusted price kept coming down because technology advances, but the price of the product stayed the same. This is something that Kathy Wood and ARK has made the argument for all the time, which is technology is a deflationary product, because you're going to get something significantly better for the same price. And even if they go up on the price, you're still getting a much better bang for your buck. So I don't think it was until around 2013 or 2014 that they really started cranking up the prices on, I think it was the iPhone 7 is when they started cranking up the prices significantly to like $750 to $800. That's when they really started cranking up the price.
Yeah.
But still, like Peggy said, it took that time, but as soon as they knew that they could go up on the prices, boom, it went up, and that was it.
Yeah, and you got to see what the strategy was behind that. The more phones you had in people's hands, the more things you can sell to them through the phone, through the software. That sounds very similar to what Tesla's doing with the vehicles. Sell the hardware, no problem, at a lower rate, that's fine. But then you have other things that's going to come on the car that you can sell them on, mainly FSD, and maybe you'll have a Tesla app where you have other apps on Tesla's app where they will be paying Tesla a royalty for them being on the Tesla app. So it becomes endless. Like whatever's happening with your smartphone will happen with your car.
Yes, it's the whole entire ecosystem. And the bigger difference between the two is when you're buying an iPhone, you have your iPhone and the whole ecosystem that goes with it. When you're buying a Tesla, what is the ecosystem that goes with that? Well, you need a way to charge your vehicle. Well, you can get Tesla Solar, Tesla Powerwalls. You can get Tesla Megapacks that are supplying the entire grid with the energy. So Tesla owns the entire ecosystem that is charging and powering the other Tesla ecosystem. So it's an ecosystem within an ecosystem, and it's wild.
And Tesla pretty much owns the gas stations of EVs, which is the superchargers. So
exactly. Just imagine if Saudi Aramco sold their own vehicles, or if GM owned gas stations. That's what we're looking at for Tesla.
Yep, pretty much. And it's a global thing, not just a North American thing. It's right. If you go to Dubai, if you go to China, Asia, Europe, about 50,000 of them, and they make one every 6 hours or 10 hours, all somewhere around the world. We're still waiting for the day where it comes to Kuwait, but yeah.
Yeah, and just thinking about that, and then eventually, then you're gonna have Optimus, and who's making the vehicles? Tesla. Tesla products are making Tesla products in a Tesla product being powered by Tesla products.
Yeah, honestly, the Optimus, it boggles my mind. I don't even know how that's gonna work. I mean, even the robotaxi boggles my mind. That's why I'm just in my evaluation, I just add the full self-driving, the global thing, where anyone can opt in for the FSD, and the licensing part. Even the licensing part got a little complicated, but I managed to work out somehow. But robotaxis, I have no clue how to calculate that whatsoever, let alone the Optimus. I mean, Optimus is actually a little bit eeasier because it's per unit, but
well, still. I don't know if Tesla's just going to simplify it and say, all right, let's say, for just numbers sake, they're going to charge $200 a month for FSD, which is probably going to be a low number, but let's say it's $200 a month. So now I'm starting to add to my Uber position strictly because I have a feeling Uber is going to be intelligent and end up building a robo-taxi fleet for themselves and make some big money on this. If this is the case, Tesla's probably just going to charge just like they did with Hertz. They didn't give them discounts on their vehicles. They said, you're buying these at normal prices. They'll do the same thing for anybody who wants to license FSD, whether it's going to be a consumer with one vehicle trying to get FSD for $200 a month, or it's going to be Uber with 100,000 vehicles that they want to charge. It's still going to be $200 a month. And when you start factoring that number in, so factor, Uber just has to figure out, the pricing for whether they're going to have the vehicle themselves and the charge for FSD and how much they're going to be able to factor that in. So that'll be charges there. Then you ask, is Tesla going to have their own robotaxi fleet? The question is, do they want the liability for that? Don't know. So I don't know if that's a whole nother place that they want to go, or if they're going to be more open to a company like Uber taking on that fleet responsibility, and Tesla will just supply the product and Uber will supply, the other end of it and take on the responsibility for any issues that arise from it. And that is probably that's my guess is how it's going to play out. So the numbers to figure out how much robotaxi is going to bring in, just figure that out. How much is licensing going to be, and how many vehicles and how many fleets are going to be out there with them?
Yeah, that's true. So the question is, Oracle, are you going to be buying the dip?
Oh, of course. I mean,
nice.
I buy the dip. I buy every day, regardless.
But as an exception,
though. For today, I won't add more.
No,
I won't add extra today. I've got my limit right now again, and I could be totally wrong on this, and maybe I'll kick myself down the road if we don't get the pullback, but I do think we're going to get the big pullback next year, and I'm getting myself prepared to take a massive advantage of that next year. That's my play.
So you're saying sometime next year we're going to see a big pullback in stocks in general?
Yes, but the entire market.
Why? Well, what's the reasoning behind that?
Reasoning behind it is we just saw right now we have a yield curve inverted, and the last 7 times this has happened, it has indicated a recession. So we are at that point right now. Now, the inversion itself is not when the recession starts. It is when it reverts and goes back to its normal trajectory that we end up getting that recession. So if we have inverted now, historically, when the Fed has caused a pause, we see the markets rallying for about 3 to 6 months, and then something ends up cracking, pulling everything down. That could be at the point where we see the yield curve go back to normal. That's when the Fed is going to pivot. When you look back at the last 2 crashes we had with the housing market crisis and with the dot-com bubble, we saw sometime around March timeframe, the market started to make their massive pullback. That's when it started. That's when the Fed would pivot. And then we saw the bottom of that come right during election season, because they were both election years. We saw it come at the end of September. So timing wise, if it plays out the same way, we would end up seeing the market start to pull back around March. And then we would see the bottom of that market sometime around October, if that's just the way it's going to play out. Again, a lot of other factors go into this, but that's the way I'm looking at it. So if that's the case, then we have a great buying opportunity coming. And then it's not like it's going to be a quick V bounce. It's going to be a harder recovery, I think, coming out of it. So if we hit the bottom in September, that gives us probably 6 to 12 months of great buying opportunities before the market starts to rebalance and recover, which would mean probably Q2, Q3 of 2025, we start to get back into that bull market.
Okay, I see what you mean.
That's my Oracle prediction of the moment.
And I'm guessing that's the time they're going to reduce interest rates as well, because
so
we're going to have a crash like that.
Yeah, so we'll see interest rates getting cut. Unless something cracks before March, we probably won't see interest rates getting cut until around September. So probably the September meeting, I would guess, is when they're going to end up cutting rates for the first time. And they're not going to cut them as much. So 2024 will end up seeing higher interest rates than they initially had planned. And then they'll cut them through 2025. So unless things get really ugly and they have to get more aggressive with the cuts, it could take a while. It could take until 2026 before we start to see interest rates actually coming down to a reasonable, well, I mean, right, and it's not like 6% is terrible, but we'll probably see in around the 3 to 4% sometime in 2026.
I mean, it's better than 6%, to be honest. But you know what?
Yes.
I'll be honest. We do need to be in a high interest rate time for some time. We've had 0% interest rate for the longest time. It
Yeah.
inflated everything, especially in Toronto, man. Dude, good luck, dude. Like in the States, getting a home is affordable. But in Canada, in main cities, it's ridiculous. Like no one can afford homes anymore. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
we need some sort of crash. Like right now, it's already happening a little bit right now. We can see in the cottage areas, cottages going for 3 million. Now they're going for 2 million. It's crazy
oh,
what's happened. It's
huge
insane.
discounts.
Huge discounts, but that's still too expensive for cottages. And it's like, you know, and the Canadian government, the Bank of Canada has said they're not going to reduce rates anytime soon. So expect more of these.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's
I mean,
down about
and the
3%.
U.S. housing market isn't great. Like I've been looking to buy a house, and it's just still disgusting.
Yeah, but it's
So
cheaper though. Like compared to Toronto, man. Like I'm
yeah,
looking at homes in like people are comparing homes in Toronto to castles in Europe. Like that.
but they're not castles.
You know what I mean? Like no, the price tags. Like you
Oh,
have
I
a
know.
small bungalow for like 3-4 million in Vancouver. For that amount of money, you can get a castle in Italy, even overviewing the Mediterranean Lake, the Mediterranean Ocean. So it's like, holy crap, you know?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous, man.
Uh, well, the stock is down 2.5%. I mean, considering we actually missed expectations by trying to do the math in my head, what?
Yeah,
How
but
much did
like
we miss? One,
so that
two.
would be about 5-6%, something like
Yeah.
that.
So if we missed by 5%, only being down 2.5%, that means that the market was again right where Gary Black was thinking at 445. Because if the market was thinking 445, getting 235, that explains the 2.5% dip.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, I guess it was priced in a little bit too. But I think many people are looking forward now to the EPS. Oh, what's the EPS going to be? What's the revenue profits going to be for this quarter? So I think that's going to be the biggest, because usually delivery, yeah, I mean, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but massively it's the earnings report that shows that, oh, shoot, Tesla did how much in EPS? No, that's it. It's going lower. Oh, no, that's it. The broken growth story, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to bring a lot of people, a lot of paper hand investors to sell and to go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Until they do report a good quarter and they do smash earnings and they come back again at a higher
Yes.
price.
And that's the thing to remember between now and earnings again is on the 18th, is pay attention to the things that Tesla says. And they can't say much because they're in basically blackout period right now. So they can't say anything really regarding the stock and the company per se between now and earnings. So, maybe they end up saying the Cybertruck event, maybe they announce it at earnings. I don't know if they can announce that between now and then. They probably can, but we're not going to get a lot of information between now and then. So between now and then, there's going to be analysts taking this number here, diagnosing it, trying to figure out what their thoughts are for earnings. So we're going to hear over the next week or two a lot of different analysts coming out with their updated price targets and their evaluations based upon this number we got today. And again, I'm going to update mine as well, because that's just naturally what you do. And you see the stock dip like it did because people are taking this number, strictly plugging it into their valuation models, and then putting in the average selling price of what we got for the information, and it spits them out a new revenue. And that revenue number is what's going to dictate what the rest of their earnings are going to show.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh. So
Yes, and David already found my castle. He's going to help me out over there in Italy, so it'll be nice.
Tim's castle.
Yes, 2030 is when I plan on buying my castle there.
Nice.
Eric, I'd like to see a video produced on the inverted yield curve discussion. I will do my best. I'm not well versed in it. I know enough to be dangerous to understand it. I will see if I can learn more to make it valuable, or at least I'll tuck it into one of my videos. Maybe tomorrow night I'll tuck it in there so you guys can get a little overview of it. Let's see. Is everything the start of Q4 running? Is any part of Tesla production shut down? No. As far as I know, everything right now is running. What we had gotten for information out of Shanghai was for September, the goal was to get them back to 80% production rate. And then for October, actually push it to 120% of where they were previously because they can produce them faster and more efficiently. So that's the goal. What their goal is after that into November, I don't know. But as of right now, from what I know, everything is up and running for production. So Q4 should be very strong.
Do you think average selling price?
Thanks for hanging with us, Melissa.
Cheers, Melissa. Do you think the average selling price for Q3 is going to be less than Q2's?
It could be because they took a lot of those price discounts on the inventory that they were trying to clear out. So we may very well see the average price down.
But then at the same time, they did reduce SNX. So I do suspect. Oh wait, how much did they sell? Let me check. They
Right.
sold. Oh, not as much.
Right. Well,
only
and that was the
16,000.
thing. So
Yeah.
and this is one of the things that Gary Black had brought up was the fact that they could have perhaps maybe spent money wiser by advertising than lowering prices of those vehicles. Again,
Yeah.
their long-term goal was to bring the prices of the vehicles down anyway. So in the near term, yes, it sucks, but long term, it's what their goal is anyway.
Okay.
So yes, they came down, but they did not make up for it in sales. And again, the other piece that we don't know is what is the FSD take rate? Because my whole premise and thought behind the dropping of the price of the Model S and X is these are the people who could afford getting FSD. And if they were on the cusp of, do I get that or not? And they're already budgeting out to spend $90,000 on a Model S. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be saving themselves, $15,000 on it because they're going to be able to buy it for less. Now they can say, hey, I was already budgeting that in there. I might as well go and get FSD on top of it. So they may have brought in that money as well. We just don't know that yet. We won't know that until earnings.
Yeah. I'm just putting in some numbers here in the Q3. Yeah, looks like I brought the vehicle gross profits down to 17%. What do you think?
I got to go through mine. I haven't even looked at my
No.
my valuation for what that is because actually, you know what? I didn't even have what was the average selling price for Q2? Because mine
43.8.
it was 43A. Okay.
Yeah.
So I put 43.8 in here. So let's say we got 42,000 for this. I got to update all that.
Damn.
Karav updated my
42.
spreadsheet, so I don't know how it fully functions. It's amazing what he did for me, but I haven't learned how to function at all yet.
Shout out to Karav, by the way.
Yeah, dude, Karav is the man.
Sheesh. No, I gotta
so
look.
I'll have to run through all my numbers, but yeah. So if we're looking at that, then my Q3 revenues for just vehicles is 18.8 billion, which is lower than the 20. Basically going back to it's just slightly above Q3 of last year for revenue. And
Wow.
that's just for vehicles. So that doesn't even take into account EV tax credits. That doesn't take into account FSD. So between those two, we could get us back to 20. We actually, ironically, what's crazy is with that, we might get revenues based upon my numbers. Revenues might come in higher than Q2, despite the fact that we had less deliveries and lower average selling price.
So you increasing the energy, I see.
Well, I would be increasing energy, FSD, and regulatory credits. I'll probably put it at 420K because that's about where we came in last quarter.
I think we got to increase the credits and the interest. I think the interest, with all that big cash they got, I think they're going to put it into that interest savings account so they can make more money.
Well, and when it comes to Pateri, it's October 18th, our earnings. And man, now I lost my train of thought. That's okay. It's all good.
I'm just playing around with some numbers right now. Why isn't it not?
But yeah, so energy is going to bump up. I got to go through it because I can't remember total revenues for energy down there.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay. I'm just credits. You're right. I think this quarter they're gonna try to sell more credits.
Oh, and
I
that's
gotta.
what I was going to go into. So speaking of credits, so when we start looking at Q4, if Ford is no longer going to be producing their Lightning, it's not like it made a huge difference. But because they're not producing the Lightning, they're going to end up having to pay more for credits. So Tesla could theoretically get even more.
Yeah, but that would fall into Q4.
Right. That would be
Yeah.
Q4, but Q3, no. Q3, I would still say is probably around. Actually, Q3 is probably going to be around 400. I would say 400 to 420 because it's not like we saw massive increases in production and deliveries from U.S. competition.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
again, I'm gonna update this. Oh, it looks like Tesla's getting close to back to flat.
Wow. People bought the
Again,
dip.
if
I
anybody
didn't
who
buy.
bought that first early morning dip, we'll see how the rest of the day plays out. But
Damn it! Come on, man. You're supposed to go lower. Like, come on. What is this?
I know I
I
messed
need
that
to
up.
go home and do all that stuff right now. I don't have my passport to my account. Otherwise, I would have bought.
I'm curious as to where TSLY is because that was the only thing I was going to add extra today. Everything else I already had preset. I love presetting my sales because then I don't have to worry about it. I can spend my time with you guys doing this than having to worry about buying stuff in the market.
Oh,
Melissa caught 239. Well done.
nice.
Well, Melissa's no joke. She doesn't mess around.
239. I didn't even see 239.
Yeah, she's
How
the
the
only one who
heck?
bought that. It hit that level. She bought it all. There's nobody buying
Jesus.
more.
What a catch.
TSLY at 1363. Okay, so that's where it closed last week. That's fine. I'm good with that. And again, at this point, unless it dips down further, I'll probably just leave it as is. And then, Melissa bought it pre-market. So yeah, so TSLY for me, I'll probably just wait till this Friday, and on X date, I'll buy more then.
Yeah, let's see. I'm surprised that it's leveling out. I would have thought that it would have been more of a panic that, oh no, Tesla Gold story is finished. Sell all your stock and buy Nikola.
Well, we still have the data play out because don't forget, we get the news a lot faster than the mainstream media. So the mainstream media is going to have this coming out sometime around mid-afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. They're going to go like that. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So there you go, folks. That's Q3.
Yes.
Q3 deliveries.
There's the number.
Yeah. It'll be Q3 earnings call, and we'll do it as usual on Oracle's channel. We'll do a multicast as well on my channel, but only up until
the earnings call.
I'm not too sure how long earnings call is gonna last because it's gonna be like
it's an hour.
It's an hour, eh?
Yeah. So because that's the way I did it last time is the way I'll do it this time as well. Is I'll jump on around probably 3:30, 3:45 Eastern time. Get everything up and running. We'll discuss what we think is going to happen. Earnings usually drop around 4:05 p.m. So as soon as those come out, we'll discuss all of that. We'll hash through it all, have some food while we're discussing it, and then we'll hang out for the earnings call. That's how I'll do it on my channel. And Peggy, you are more than welcome to hang out for as much of it as you want.
Yeah, definitely. It's always fun. We'll do a multicast as well, so we can get more people as well. And hopefully. Well, yeah, because it's not daylight savings time yet that you guys go forward 1 hour from where it would be like 2-3 a.m. my time. So I think we can do it.
Yes.
So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Alrighty, good stuff.
All right,
Thank you, Tim.
No problem. Have a good one, and we will see you guys later as well. I'm gonna hop off here, and again, I will be putting up a video later today for you guys about what I'm going to be going on Peggy's channel for and discussing my dividend game.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
And my way to get to 4,444 Tesla shares by 2033. Oof. And then we'll go from there. All right, folks. It was good hanging this morning with you all, and we will see you guys all later.